I discovered a peculiarity. I'm not certain what it is. I think it's just because Blender changed a little bit. Well, a lot, but in this particular case, it's a little bit. I'm going to reset the stage here. I know that it's engaged, and I'm not going to use this afterwards. Since I know this is going to require glue, I'll use this one instead, because then I can just delete it instead of reset the stage for a clean beginning. But let's get to the heart of this first. I'm going to go into pose mode and examine the keys. And I see that there's keys before the accessible frame, which is usually a problem if I can create a reference pose there. And I'm unable to do that. I'll show you what's going on. Alt R, Alt G. I set a reference pose, and something is going on with the arm here on the left, so that tells me there's something very basic. This is a phantom pose. It's not really established, so it's not being picked up by Bento Buddy. I don't know why. Blender has difficulty resolving transforms, and I rely on Blender to give me its transforms. And what you see is what you get, or at least it should be that way, but that's not how Blender operates. And it seems in their newer versions of Blender, this has become an issue. So I'm going to remove this frame I put in and just highlight it, delete it. Now we start over from this. I'm going to move this entire animation over so that these keys are accessible over here. I need to put my reference frame before that, but I can't get to it. So A for all, move this over a little. I'll deposit this on frame 3 because I need a key on frame 2 that represents frame 3, or at least close to it. So make sure all bones are selected, and I will key the lock rod there. Then on frame 1, reset rotation and location and key that. Now we have a reference transition that works. The transition should have happened with frame 3, but that's not where that pose went. It was phantom. So now we can export this animation. Since I moved it over 17 frames, I'll add 17 to this. It's not necessary. I could have just told the animation exporter to do that. And we don't need to export the glitchy 2-frame animation. Just export from frame 3 here, and we want it to loop from 77. And make sure to turn off this thing here. That was accidentally turned on, I guess. That's not the default. You don't need that for this. I'll export this animation. Priority doesn't need to be up there. Can even be a 0, I think. Let's see, make sure everything's right. Alright. Export that. Nope, I can't export that. I have to retarget it. So let's go to our bone control here. Character tools. You could use this with glue on, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use a more convenient way, bone control, because I'll make sure that this one doesn't have send to animation enabled by default, so it will keep my settings. If we did this in the retargeter, my settings will be overwritten. So I'm going to snap the bones, and that way after I'm done exporting my animation, I can just delete the rig. And it's a little more convenient in some situations, especially for testing. That's it. Now I'm going to export the mesh as a mapped mesh. There we go. And we'll go into Second Life. Okay. Upload the mesh. Change positions. Drop in the script. Get the animation. Features, Animesh. I'll lift this up a little. And I will change the transparency here. A little color. Alright. That should do it. You'll have to fix that glitch.